everyone, this is Carrie from Curly Crafty Mom. This is my very first Facebook Live video on Hometalk, and today I'm going to be sharing how to make fabric pots from these 4-inch terracotta pots that I picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I'm also going to show how to add a monogram to them with my silhouette machine. And if you don't have a silhouette machine, that's okay. I'll give you some tips on what to do. And Hometalk is also going to be giving away a tote bag, a Hometalk tote bag. So if you want to enter, all you have to do in the comments is say what you would put on the front of your pot. I also want to say I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and I wanted to know how is the weather by you. The weather's been warm and cold over here, so hopefully we will be in the 70s this weekend. But after snow last weekend, I'll take any kind of warm weather. Okay, so let's get started. First, what you'll do is add a monogram to the front of this pot. And I have one that I finished here, but I'm going to show you how to do it. And this is using vinyl, heat transfer vinyl. And what you'll do is the first thing, you'll take a fabric ruler, and you kind of want to measure the pot to see what size you want to make the monogram. And then you'll measure it both ways just because you'll want it to kind of wrap around the pot a little bit. Okay, and then after you do that, you will, I'll turn my laptop around here, show you how to do this. Also, I wanted to mention, if you like what you're seeing here, be sure to hit the like button and also the share button down below. And let me plug in my silhouette into my laptop and I can show you what to do. You'll see up on the screen, there it is. Of course, I'm plugging it in on the wrong side. You'll see that there's a font. This is actually, it's Silhouette has a design store, and these are images, but you can also use a font. It'll accept any font that's on your computer. So I have some monogram fonts, and this is an image, and you'll see these are all individual pieces. When I bought this, it has all the A's, all the B's, all the C's, and then you will select the letters that you want for your monogram. If you want to do just the font, then you could type a C in a script or something like that. And then on this screen, I'm going to show you just what I did is, this is all grouped together, so it's one piece, but I took this letter C and the A and another A, which is my initials, and I grouped them together. And then you'll see the measurements. You can size this however you want to get it to fit to the correct size of the pot. And there's also a measurement bar over here. Let me see. Where you can, it's called scale. You can type in the scale, and you can also type in, there's a lot of different, align, and then you can also type in, let's see, whatever measurements you want. So this is the, let's see, page setting. What you'll go to next is,
so could we get started with the pots?
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the pots. What we'll do is we're just going to go to the print screen, and we're going to go ahead and print this out on the screen. So I'm going to connect it. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, and then we are going to print this out on the Silhouette. And what you'll do is you'll take some vinyl, and I have this roll here. I'm going to turn on my machine, and there's two sides to the vinyl. There's a shiny side, and that's the side that you want to be facing down. And while I load this in, where are some of you tuning in from? I would love to hear where some of you are watching from. And I'm going to hit the load media button. Okay, so you just click that, it loads it in. You don't have to have this down. You also want to make sure there's a blade in here. Make sure that you have it set to the right cutting edge. I have mine set to 4.
Nancy Colas is in Newburgh, New York.
Oh, wow. So you probably had a lot of snow recently. I've heard that you had between 8 to 12 inches, which is a lot more than we have here. We can at least see the grass. Okay, so I have that loaded in, and then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to print this out really quick. What you want to do too is you want to remember to flip your image. So I have one that's already flipped. Let me go here. Okay, so these are already flipped because when you print it out, you're going to iron it on. So you want to make sure that you flip that, and that's over here in the object tool. So you'll go to the mirror and then flip horizontally. So I'm going to go ahead and print this out. It's all ready to go. So I'm going to hit start, and then you'll see that it's going to print. Where else is some of you tuning in from?
Ann Vanderpool is from London.
Oh, wow. That's pretty far away.
Sharon Squires is from South Carolina.
Okay.
I saw in
Probably getting
Nebraska.
some warmer weather there.
Tanya Cleaver is from Tasmania, Australia.
Oh, wow. So I don't know what time it is there, but thanks for tuning in. Okay, so this is going to print, and then what I'll show you is, I have some of these already printed. You're going to peel off this paper, and I can actually get started on this now. Okay, so it's kind of hard to see, but you'll just peel off. It comes right off, and then you'll start to see the shape of the letters. And we'll use this one since I already have it. But you'll kind of cut around it so that you don't have a big piece of paper. And when I printed this, I printed 3 of these at once so that I could get more use out of my vinyl. And you'll want to make sure you get the little pieces that are...
Tanya says it's 10 a.m. in Tasmania.
Oh, wow.
We have Noir from Sydney, Australia. I'm sure I didn't say that right. It's also 10 a.m. there.
Oh my goodness, so you're just starting your day. That's evening here. Okay, so this is what it looks like after you print it. And you'll see it printed on the machine, but I'm going to go ahead and get started on this so we can see what happens. I'm going to move my laptop so I can use my cutting board. And you'll want to, let me unplug this so I don't trip on any of these cords. You're going to want to cut your fabric. So we will iron this after because we need to cut our fabric. So I have different fabrics. I did 3 pots, and you'll see there's this green chevron pattern, and then florals have been really popular, so I have a couple of different floral patterns. And I was going to do, I was going to show you how you would cut this. You'll take your pot, and you'll see that you'll need to measure it again. So you'll measure it around the top, and it's 14 inches, I already know, around the top. So you'll cut your fabric so that the length of it is 14 inches. And then what you need to remember is when you measure it on the top and bottom, you want to add an extra inch on the top and also on the bottom, so that you have a little overlap to wrap the fabric around the pot. Okay, so let me roll this up, and then what I do usually is I'll cut one of these out, and then I can just use it again when I'm kind of as a template for the other pieces of fabric, so I don't have to measure the fabric over and over again. Okay, so, and then I already have this measured. I used a fabric pencil. So this won't stain the fabric, it'll come right off. So I added a little nick there, and I added one there and here. So you can see there's kind of a rectangular shape. And then I'm going to cut it. And fabric is not my favorite thing to cut, but with these it doesn't have to be perfect. And you'll also want to make sure you iron your fabric before you cut it and add it to your pot. And I'm just going to use a rotary cutter here, and I'm just making sure I can see where this all lines up. Okay, so I'm going to cut it, and then I just need to cut it one more time. And if it doesn't cut all the way, you can just cut that one little area. Okay, so that's that side, and then let me cut this other side. I'm curious, what would you put personally on your pot? I know Mother's Day is coming up in May, and there's also the end of school, and some of you might be giving gifts to your teachers. What would you put on your pot? Would you put your monogram, because monograms are so popular right now, or would you leave it blank? I'm curious to know what would be popular.
We've seen a mom to go on the pot.
Mom would be great.
Harley Davidson I saw.
Oh wow, I wonder what kind of fabric you would use for that. And you also want to be careful because sometimes the fabric you want to make sure you have it facing the right way when you put it on the pot.
Deb Henderson would put "You Are My Sunshine."
Oh, that would be cute. That would be cheerful. Okay, so you'll see that this fits, and you'll overlap the pot. And since the pot's kind of a round shape, it's not going to go on here perfectly, but you're going to Mod Podge it on here, and then you're going to cut little strips on the top and bottom that you'll Mod Podge down, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. But first, since we have our fabric cut, I'm going to show you how to add the monogram that we just printed to the fabric. And I'm going to use this one because I think the purple would look really good on here too.
Brandy Guthrie had a good idea. You could use this to label herb pots.
Oh, I did not think of that. That would be great. And I need to get my herbs going. I haven't started them yet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I need to plug this in, but it heats up really fast. I'm going to iron this on, and it's really easy. Some people have a heat press, which is, if you did this for a business, that might be really good to have. But for me, and just doing a couple of these at home once in a while, I don't really need that. Okay, so you want to make sure, and you would think this would be harder than it really is, but you want to center this below the upper, whatever this is called, the ridge of the pot, and you want to make sure it's centered on the bottom of that. And you don't have to be real perfect about it. Actually, it seems to go on pretty good.
Linda Jones asks if you can use these pots outdoors.
I actually did use these outside last year. Since they're terracotta, you wouldn't realize this, or I didn't, but the water will seep through the fabric, so when it gets wet, the fabric will feel wet. What I use is this Mod Podge, which is for outdoors, and when I use it, and I can show you, I have my pots from last year. I need to make some new ones, but they will get faded. This is the one from last year. This was outside. I actually planted flowers in it with dirt, and it was on a covered porch, but it was exposed to the sun, so you'll see the sun bleached it a little bit, but you'll see the monogram stayed on perfectly. There's no peeling, and none of this came off. It stayed on really good. So the biggest concern, I would think, is the sun bleaching the fabric over time. And I can show you the other two. They just get bleached. So They would probably work better inside, but for once, these look really good most of the summer. So if they're really inexpensive to make, and I was thinking I could actually Mod Podge over these with new fabric so I can use these pots again.
Shelley Larimore is going to put the names of her 4 grandkids on 4 different pots.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, I'm loving all of these ideas. Okay, so my iron's feeling hot. And what you want to do is, this is kind of sticky on the side. If you don't have a silhouette machine at home, you can buy these, just these individual monograms on Etsy, or if you have a friend, they could do them for you. And what you do is you just cover it with another piece of fabric and you iron it, and you want to make sure you do it for a while just to make sure that it adheres to it. And I've used this heat transfer vinyl for pillows. I have some monogrammed pillows on my couch. There's just all kinds of crafts that you can do. Getting a silhouette machine has just been one of my favorite crafting things. So you can see when I try to pull it up, it's trying to come up just a little bit. So I'm just going to put it under the iron for a little longer, and then it'll be that plastic. When you pull the plastic up, you don't want to pull it up too quick. You wouldn't pull it like you would pull a Band-Aid off. You want to pull it kind of gently, because some of these pieces are delicate and you could rip the circle that it's in. Okay, so I'm pulling it off. So now you'll see.
Jody Seletsky wants to know if they can be clear-coated and then wiped down. Do you think that'd be a good idea?
I do. I think that would be a wonderful idea. And another idea I had is, I think if you go to Lowe's, you can buy clear pots that you might be able, like little ones that you could fit inside them so they don't get as wet when you water them. But the fabric will stay on nicely. Okay, so now you'll see that the monogram's on there. And you can even buy vinyl that has a little bit of a fuzz, like furry texture to it. Okay, so that is good. And now I'm going to show you how to add it to the pot. I'm going to also turn off my iron real quick. Okay, so, alright, so you'll see these two look real similar. This was the one I made earlier. And then when you start to cut your fabric, you can just use one of these as a template, and it's really easy. You can cut these really fast. So if you want to make a bunch of these for all your grandkids or whatever, it's really easy. Okay, so I'm going to sit down so that I can show you how to Mod Podge these. Has anyone started to do any work in their garden yet? Or has it been too cold? Anyone in California maybe? Okay, I'm looking. Here's my outdoor Mod Podge. I have not used the regular Mod Podge with this, so I don't know how that would work. I'm sure it would be fine if these are inside the house, but from what I've experienced, it stayed on really well for the outdoor ones. Alright, so what I do is I don't Mod Podge the whole pot at once. I just do a little section at first. So what I'm going to do is the center, because I have the monogram on the side. And I just take a sponge brush, and this goes really fast once you get the center piece on it.
Cara Centrella says she still has 2 feet of snow, so she's not working her garden yet.
That's terrible. We had some really nice weather, and I was thinking about starting to clean up in the yard. And then we got flurries, and we actually did get some snow on the ground. And so now all of my daffodils look like they're dying.
Cindy Callahan White has 90-degree weather, and she's been cleaning her yard for weeks now, and it looks good.
She must live somewhere warm. Yeah, I've been in St. Louis my whole life, and I've never lived somewhere where we've had 70-degree weather all year. Okay, so you'll see that the front of it's on here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly Mod Podge the rest of this pot, and then I'll show you how we finish it off. So you'll just do a little bit at a time. And it shouldn't be too messy. I've had some, I actually did a wreath with split peas, and I used Mod Podge for that, and that was really messy. My fingers were, it took a while to get my hands clean after I worked on that.
Tanya says it's autumn there in Tasmania, but they've had some really hot days.
Oh wow, we had a pretty mild winter here in St. Louis, so I can't complain. But I'm ready for, we had a week or two of 70-degree weather, and I had all my spring clothes out, and now I'm pulling out the scarves again. Okay, so you'll just keep adding that. You'll see you'll come to the end, and then what I do is I go ahead and I finish the other side, and then you're going to add a little Mod Podge to the crease. And I actually need more of this. This is sold at Hobby Lobby and the outdoor Mod Podge. When it first came out, it was really hard to find. I had to buy it on Amazon, and it was a little overpriced, I thought. So it's good that it's in the stores now. They actually have so many different kinds of Mod Podge now. It's hard to know which one to buy.
Stephen Barry Minford says, hi from Northern Ireland.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you guys are watching from all over.
Arabelle Ortez is saying hi from Puerto Rico.
Well, hello. I'm glad that all of you are tuning in. If you like what you're watching, I would love for you to hit the like button at the bottom or to hit share. Share this.
Oh, Sheila Galloway has a good idea. You could hot glue moss to the old pots from last year so they look a little more decorative.
Oh, that would be nice. And I do have moss. Okay, I'm going to cut some of this excess fabric. And I have two scissors here. I have my fabric scissors and my regular scissors. And since there is Mod Podge on this, I do not want to use my nice fabric scissors. I have to hide them from my kids because they think they can use them for just anything. But I want to keep them nice and sharp. Okay, so I'm cutting this off, and you'll see that there is a little place here. You can add a little fabric there. It's on the back side of the pot, so nobody will notice. And I'm going to add, I'm kind of near the bottom of this, so I have to dig in. And I'm just going to add some more Mod Podge here. And these, it doesn't take long for the Mod Podge to dry. You will want to add a little extra to this crease just to seal it so it stays, so it doesn't come unraveled under all the elements outside. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And then what you'll do is, my hands are starting to get sticky, you're going to just cut off some of this excess on the top because you don't want to wrap that all around the trim of it. And it's sticking to me. Are there any other ideas? I would love to hear what else you would want to put on your pot if you were to make one of these.
Trish Anderson would put, take time to grow.
Oh, that's a really nice. I love quotes and little sayings on shirts and pots. And that would look really cute on a windowsill in the kitchen, something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to cut slits, and it might be easier if I just tilt this. I might have to use my fabric scissors. I think I am, just because it'll be a lot quicker. So you're going to cut slits. Look how much quicker that went. And I do one about every inch. And this will, you're going to take the Mod Podge and just slather it on around the inside of the pot. And you'll also do it on the bottom, but the bottom doesn't take as long. And this goes really fast. And I'm going to make it quick. I'm just going to add some Mod Podge around the whole inside of this. Or maybe I'll do half because I don't know how fast this dries. I'm sure it doesn't dry as fast as hot glue, but okay, so I'm just wrapping it around. And then you're going to want to add another layer kind of around the top just to make sure it's sealed on there really good. What kind of flowers would you put in these pots? Would you keep them inside and do succulents, or would you do some annual flowers such as petunias?
Tanya's is voting for herbs again in their names. That would be great in these pots.
Oh yeah, and herbs would be really, really fun. And you can mix up the fabric and do different kinds of fabrics that go together. I was just in the fabric store a couple days ago, and they had a lot of really nice floral prints.
Sheila Galloway would do lilacs. I've seen hydrangeas.
Oh, lilacs would smell good. Yeah, I wish I had a kitchen window because I would love to either put herbs in here or some pretty flowers.
Pansies, Cindy Henderson. Neum says daisies.
Oh, daisies would be really pretty. And with Mother's Day coming up, you could pot some flowers in here. What I do is I put some gravel on the bottom just so that when you water it, all the dirt doesn't flow out right away. Okay, so you'll see I kind of added some Mod Podge to just seal this really good. I don't want to get usually I would get in with my fingers, but since I'm filming, I don't want to get too sticky.
Barbara wants to know what kind of material or fabric that is. Can you tell us again?
Oh, this is just regular cotton fabric. I didn't use anything special for it. And you can pick this up at the fabric store. You can get a yard of it, and then you can make several pots. But I haven't used flannel or anything. I usually just use the regular cotton fabric. Alright, so I'm going to, let's see, I have some extra fabric. I don't want to get my cutting board all sticky, so I'm going to lay this down. I wish I had some paper. So you want to make sure you have maybe some scrap paper or something to lay down. And I don't want to cover the hole, so I'm going to cut this strip a little bit here. And if you have some of these extra strips that you cut off, you can always fill in this little spot here that it didn't wrap around completely. It actually just stuck on there because I have. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up the bottom of this. And what I do for the bottom is I just put it on the inside of the fabric, and then I push down on it. Okay. I'll finish that up. Okay, and then you want to just make sure you seal it really good on the bottom. Okay. So what are some of your favorite herbs to plant? I did plant some herbs last year, and I did the basil, parsley, which are really good to cook with, but I also did catnip, which was a little different. I wasn't sure what to do with it. I think you're supposed to dry it and then use it, but there's just so many herbs that you can use and plant, and I like to get some different ones sometimes.
Jude Norris would plant cilantro. We have a basil, rosemary, mint,
Oh, those all sound good.
McKnight. And then we had a suggestion that if you put a coffee filter in the bottom, it would keep the dirt from leaking out the hole.
Oh, that's a great idea. I have a Keurig, which I just got for Christmas. It's my first coffee maker ever. But I did just recently do a coffee filter wreath, so I do have some coffee filters left over. So I'm going to try that. I think that's a great idea. I hadn't heard of that one.
Tanya would plant stevia. Stephen from Ireland would plant thyme.
Okay, so you'll see that this is what it looks like. Obviously you're going to have to let it dry a little bit, but if you put it down below here, it's not going to be too bad. It's a little sticky, but not too bad. So you can put it on, I probably wouldn't put it on paper maybe, because the paper might rip off with it while it's drying. But there might be a better way that you have to dry these. Maybe you could put it up on something inside it. But it dries pretty quick. I would let it dry overnight. And you have a nice pot. And then what I also do is I pick these up at Hobby Lobby, and these are just the little pot holder base that you would put on here. And what I do is, I don't like the terracotta color. I take spray paint, and I'm not going to do this in the house because it would smell really bad, but I just spray paint it white, and it holds up really good. Now, what I did find is, and I can show you these are the ones I did last summer. And you can see it doesn't really stain too bad. I watered these all summer. There's not really any watermark. You can tell that I didn't do a really good job spray painting it, but spray painting is something that I always struggle with. So I almost rather use a paintbrush than spray paint, because I always get little watermarks. But what I found out is I did 3 of these pots last year, and this one broke. So what I found is you have to be really careful. I mean, even after the Mod Podge is dry, you want to make sure when you pick up your pot, sometimes with you watering it and everything, it'll kind of stick to the bottom. And what happened here was it stuck to the bottom, and then it fell off, and it broke in half. So I don't know if I'm going to glue this or what's going to work, or I'll probably just throw it away. But you really need to be careful when you pick these up to water them, because I had a little ladder shelf that I had these on display on my front porch, and I had one of these on each shelf, and I picked this one up and it broke, so it was a real bummer. And then of course I went all summer with just holding it together instead of making another one. Okay, so let's see what time it is. So do we have any questions or any other comments? Any neat ideas about what to put on these? The winner, Hometalk's going to pick someone, and they will win a Hometalk tote bag. So that'll be exciting. So we have a little giveaway, and be sure to hit like and share. I'm not going to make the other 2 pots, but what I do like to have 3 because I think it looks really cute. And what I do is I monogram the one pot, and I'm going to show you a picture on my computer of what these look like, because these ones from last summer are kind of faded. But what I do is I pick kind of a simple pattern to put the monogram on, because I think it gets lost on the floral print, but you could try it. And then I find colors that match, and so I did this floral print, so I kind of have pinks and greens and purples. And then I did this fabric print. So you'll have 3 pots that kind of go well together, and I'll show you a picture of that. But what you would do is you would just do these 2 pots and you wouldn't add a monogram to it, unless you want to monogram all of them. But usually, if you kind of arrange them and one of them is going to be the focal point, you don't really need to monogram all of them. But if it's for a gift, then I would definitely, and you can just gift one of these. You could put some, you could even do like a herb kit and put a packet of seeds in there and some gloves and wrap it up, and it'd be a really cute teacher or mom's Mother's Day gift. So I'm going to show you the picture, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to have to turn my laptop around.
Jude wants to know if you can remove the fabric and redo it next season.
What I would do is, these are the ones from last season. I am planning, because I don't want to buy, the pots are about $1.37. You might find them cheaper at Walmart, but I'm going to just Mod Podge over them, because you might not want to do it 5 years in a row, but it's so thin that I'm just going to do it right on over it and see how it goes. I haven't tried it out, but I think it'll be okay. And especially if you're going to keep them indoors and just put succulents in them, something that's not real. But I think it would work outside too. Just, you'll have to be careful your fabric's not too thin. and it doesn't show off, but I haven't really ripped off. It's on here pretty good. I think if you were to rip this off, it would be probably pretty hard because it's on there good. If the sun didn't get the fabric off, then I think it's going to be hard for you to get it off.
Carol Rudinsky just joined.
Oh, my teacher from grade school. I think she was my 7th grade teacher or my 8th grade. I can't remember. I should remember that.
Hi, Mrs.
She
R.
just joined. Yeah, Mrs. R. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up shortly. Let me see. Okay, so we are going to go, it's hard to see my computer because I'm not facing. This is what they looked like last summer. Now, of course, this is a staged shot, but I had them on a little ladder out on my front porch, and I'll just show you. And you can find this on Hometalk. I did this project last summer. This is one of my most popular projects from last summer. Okay, so that's what they look like. All right, so don't forget to hit like at the bottom and hit share at the bottom. I would love for you to share this post with anyone that you think might be interested in a Mother's Day gift, or if you want to do some herbs with floral pots. And also, Hometalk will be doing another live video at 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning.
So congratulations to Stephen Barry Minford from Northern Ireland, who's our winner for the giveaway.
Yay!
Yay.
What's his name?
Stephen Barry Minford.
Congratulations. And what was his, does it say what his idea was for what he would put on the pots?
It will grow in time.
It will grow in time. I love that. So there's so many great ideas. I think I'm going to try out the herb one. That was one of my personal favorites. And make sure you hit share. And we will hope to see you on Home Talk tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.